just after a beautiful swim here in Salterstown. It's called the Wee County because it's the smallest county in Ireland, also known as the Land of Legends. But as I was swimming and coming back in, it's March here, end of March, water's about 8 degrees, 9 degrees Celsius building up. But as I was coming back in from the swim, I was thinking how much I needed it, because like everybody else in the world, I get very wound up, very anxious and very angry about what's happening in Palestine, what's happening in the States, what's happening in Russia, what's happening in Ukraine, what's happening in Israel, what's happening here in our own country in Ireland. You know, we are, that wasn't a gunshot, that was a scarecrow. These things they have to scare off the birds. Anyway, I was thinking about all that stuff, and we're living in a world full of turmoil and chaos, you know, and it can embed into us, and it can become part of who we are, a large part of who we are. The anger and the anxiety and the constant upset, and we want to fix it all, you know. That's in our nature, to try and help. You know, we are here to serve first and foremost, but we can't do that if we are in a sad state of mental health, you know. If our mind is sick from anger and from frustration and hopelessness, we have to first think about ourselves, think about where we are coming from, what we would like to do, but first of all, what we can do for ourselves, for our family, for our community, because it begins right here with us, here, now. If we are in a positive state of mind, if we are in a loving state of mind, a more proactive, healthful state of mind, then what we can do is we can help those around us much easier and much better. We can have a more positive influence on them. There is an awful lot to be said about spreading love. You know, it's easy and easier to spread hate. It's easier to get angry. It's easier to get frustrated. It's easier to hit out and want to hurt people and hurt those who are causing hurt to us. But it doesn't solve anything. It just adds to this big, huge mountain of anger and anxiety and frustration that we are contributing to by our angst on social media, this constant scrolling, this constant looking at all the bad stuff that's going on in the world. We were never meant to sort out the whole world's problems. That doesn't mean that we just forget about it, throw it to one side and take care of ourselves. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we have to look toward ourselves in order to affect change in the world. It happens with us. It starts with us. It starts with first and foremost looking into our own hearts and our own minds and seeing where is our pain coming from and what can we do on a personal level immediately to change it. And it's very simple things. It's not difficult stuff. It's not hard to change what's going on. You can do what I'm doing right now. You can go out, go for a walk with a beautiful blue sky by the sea, beautiful surroundings, and just touching base with yourself, just switching off, tuning out from everything else that's going on, and just touching base with yourself. See how you're feeling, see where your pain is coming from, and how can you let it go? How can you work to become a better human being within yourself? How can you feed your family with love? How can you feed yourself with love? How can you feed the community in which you live with love? How can you be more supportive within that community, within yourself, within your family? Because this is where it starts. Go out, meet somebody, meet a friend of yours, a like mind, you know, go for a walk, go for a hike, go for a run, go for a swim, go to the gym, go for a cycle, climb a mountain, just sit outside with a cup of coffee and just absorb some of this beautiful, beautiful sun that we have today. But do something that is going to feed you in a positive way, not in a negative way. And that is how we contribute to a better world. You may say to yourself, that's not going to change what's happening abroad, you know, that's not going to change what's happening in Palestine. If everybody does this, you know, it can affect change. But if nobody does it, then things are just going to get worse. It has to start somewhere. It's not working. What we're doing at the moment is not working. You know, protesting, we have to protest. Screaming and roaring, that has to be done, you know. But it's not going to affect change if we're not coming from a positive frame of mind. We touch base with ourselves and we try and then move that forward to a more global scale. If everybody does that just for a couple of minutes, even a couple of hours every single day, you know, you're spreading that kind of vibe around the whole world. The butterfly effect does actually affect change, you know, but everybody has to believe in that way forward. So first of all, just stop. Just touch base with yourself, see how you're feeling, see where you're going, see where your thought process is bringing you, and is it having a positive effect on what you're doing. If it isn't having a positive effect on what you're doing, then it's not having a positive effect on the world in which you live, in the community in which you serve. It's not having a positive effect on your family, you know. So this is where it starts. So just have a think about that over a cup of coffee. If you smoke, I don't, you know, it kills you. But if you smoke, over a cigarette, you know, the most important thing is what you're doing is bringing forward a more positive approach to how you can change what's happening in the world. There is a mass movement happening, and we are all part and parcel of it, and how we feed it is going to determine what the result will be. And that result will come from the way we think, from the way we act, and from what we do first and foremost for ourselves, for our family, and for the community in which we live. If it's not spreading love, then it's not worth spreading. Have a great day.